pals, it's Sassy Cassie, and welcome back to another reaction video of Naruto Shippuden. As always, I'd like to thank all of my subscribers and anyone watching this video. Thank you so much for watching and continuing to follow me on this journey that is an onion and crazy and vast. I would also like to give a very special thank you to my patrons. Now, previously on Naruto, we are still on the beachfront, which is nice because there's a lot going on. The more I think about it, the more I'm like, oh my gosh, no wonder this arc is so long, actually. From what I understand, this is like the longest arc ever. No wonder it's so long. There's so many battlefronts, so many questions left unanswered. Anyway, it's fine. We're not going to go there. But they're on the beachfront. And we've been focusing on that, and it's been fine. They battled people from the cloud who were criminals, who had Nine Tails chakra. They sealed them away. Ten got a new weapon, which she probably really needs because those kunai are not doing anything. But now we're faced with a new problem, which I knew was coming because there's no way that it wasn't going to turn out this way. They have Asuma Sensei and Kakuzu, who took part in the death of Asuma. So, of course, it had to be this way, but it's fine. We're going to get into it, and I'm going to try my best not to cry. But I have tissues just in case. Also, I skipped 271 because the list said so. So, let's get into episode 272, and then we're going to take a break. Perhaps eat a cookie. I encourage you all to get cookies too. Unless you can't have them, then don't hurt yourself.
Send them the coordinates of the closest rendezvous point, and quickly.
Right, the samurai. All right, the mountains that look like trap inches.
So samurai should remain neutral, should they? They only say
why the whole world falls.
They don't know the past. But even more than that, they don't understand the current situation.
Some also say that a shinobi war should be resolved by the shinobi themselves.
Yeah.
But the shinobi war will affect everyone. Okay, I went too far. Okay, back up. Oh, okay.
I said I wanted out of here.
Data, you and your art need to be quiet now.
It's over there.
I don't care if it was the Akatsuki or Orochimaru. Whoever has reanimated me is going to regret it.
Yeah, you tell them, Lady Chio.
It's just so undignified.
I'm trying to concentrate. Be quiet, Puppet Granny.
No, I won't.
Oh, that snorkel face. Oh, yes. I love old people trash talk.
He resorted to poison because he was tired of chasing us? Damn it. I should be resistant to poison. But my body's
What you gonna do? What you gonna do? Reinforcements?
Reinforcements? Hey, come over here.
You can't. Every time he speaks. Every time he speaks.
No!
And reinforcements. Yep, samurai.
Careful. The enemy uses poison.
Our masks are specially designed for fighting shinobi and are impervious to poison gas.
Oh, that's
They
fancy.
need antidotes. Get these commando unit members to the medical corps. Stat!
Lord Mifune.
Assistance is not necessary. Stay out of the way if you do not want to get injured.
This is exciting. He's also one of those that's lived a long time, so he's probably also lived through some other wars.
I have fought against him many times in my day. That is why I know how to concoct an antidote to its poison. I am also aware that the salamander takes 5 minutes to work up more venom once it releases it.
The
That
fact that just...
interfering hag is blabbing my secrets.
Well, she's
Keep
not
listening.
with
Withdraw
you.
for now.
Even though he's like controlling their body, he can't control their mouths. Seems like a character flaw. Oh, not a character flaw, a jutsu flaw. If you don't want them to give away all the secrets and all the plans, even though they don't really tell them any plans, but if you don't want to give them away, then you won't allow them to speak. It's one of the reasons that ninja always are like, I will never be taken alive, because they don't want any information getting to the enemy.
All right, I'll go.
Right. Okay, I have to ask, what chakra natures causes his bones to come out his body?
I once sought peace too. I was going to unite all 5 great nations into one shinobi world. I quickly realized that true peace does not exist.
Tyranny, he means. Or, not tyranny, dictatorship.
After battle, the only thing left at the end of it all is death. You pledge your...
Maybe people deserve to have their own cultures and way of life and not have other people impose on them.
Pushes me forward is my conviction. Yours has become warped. According to the samurai way, people themselves are swords.
I'm sorry.
And thus one
I feel
can
plagued by the
evolve
word
like
conviction
my
since
famed
I
sword
love My
bullet.
Hero Academia so much.
Do not compare people to blades. What can you possibly glean from some cold lump of iron? Take your ritual of
Aren't they from the
seppuku.
land of iron?
Why do you samurai try to diminish your own life so much?
But also, if they're a dwindling way of life, then how are there so many samurai?
Even those familiar with it have never managed to avoid it.
In the distant past, when my name was still unknown, we actually exchanged blows once. Though I doubt you would remember it.
Oh? Then why aren't you dead?
You shattered my sword with that sickle and chain, and you slashed my head. But even then, somehow...
That's why he's got a bandage.
To think you could drive me to this point?
Have you forgotten my face, Hanzo?
You're Yahiko of the Akatsuki. But you're dead. What's going on?
You allied yourself with Donzo and then betrayed us. You now only think of self-preservation, you piece of garbage. I once...
Somehow, him saying, you piece of garbage, is so... It's so sinister.
Continuously honed will gain renown and will be passed on. And what's more...
Okay. But also, he's a zombie and can't be killed unless the soul is sealed?
After you cut me down and left me there to die.
It's salamander venom. My blade is coated with it. Fear not. The numbness will take away your pain. And within 48 hours, you'll be dead.
Okay, here's the problem with people always doing that. You can't just leave people to die. If you want them to actually die, you don't let the poison take them.
If the venom sac is cut open during battle somehow, then the concentrated venom inside will vaporize and escape. And likely, I will inhale it. Even with my resistance, I would not be left unharmed. The gas would paralyze me too.
So is he gonna get taken out by his own gas?
Conviction just by looking at them. Even if you were to die
Also,
here,
what
I
is with
wouldn't
these
be
always
considered
these
drunken
dramatic
or dull.
battles at
Your
waterfalls?
companions who abandoned the fight at the start.
Also,
Fleeing in fear upon hearing my
here's the
name,
thing.
Who are worthless lumps
He
of
wears the mask to
iron.
protect himself, but he's not he can. Do people just not breathe through their nose? Do people forget that they can breathe through their nose?
It's difficult to see one's convictions through. I too have my own conviction. To find a way to somehow bring peace to this world. I'll use you as a test case to see if
I
you will
just
die
wanna
still embracing your
know.
convictions, or if you end up just surviving and abandoning those convictions over time.
Okay, great. I'm glad that they apparently needed this talk. Again, everyone, there are words left unsaid, things that needed to be addressed. Fine.
I entrust you with my conviction.
Okay, so he gave...
Seppuku? By a shinobi?
But they...
He's disobeying the orders embedded in my tag.
Okay, great. That was my question. I was like, how does he doing that? It's too late. Okay, so he can make him mindless, but it's too late.
So doesn't have a proper grave site. And that means we must find a suitable place for him to rest.
Cool. Okay. I'm glad that I'm going to be taking a break because not that these aren't important. We've had many characters that have been introduced to us throughout the series that have significance, that have powers and jutsus and weaknesses and histories and all kinds of things that we never truly explore. So I am grateful that we will be exploring them as we have, like, again, every great shinobi that has ever lived, aside from a few, to be here. Fine. I am slightly bored. And I mean that with the utmost respect, because this is a story that, like, while Hanzo has been tied to, you know, obviously causing the whole, like, Nagato and them to go down a different path because he killed, what's his name, I can't remember at the moment, Yahiko, and which, you know, made the Katsuki, but kind of was already there, but, you know, led them down the path. And then, you know, there's the whole, like, interaction with Jiraiya and Tsunade and how he's the one that named them the Sannin and all that. There's, like, a lot of intertwining story plots here, which I think is great because we got to know more about him and not just him in the context of other people's stories. We actually get a little bit of his story and his background with the samurai who we kind of know, but not really. So we got a little bit of background there and why he is the way he is and his convictions and all that, which is great. However, because this didn't involve pretty much any one of our main characters, I found myself feeling a little, like, lacking in this episode. And I apologize if there was a lack of commentary. I apologize if it did seem like I was bored. I'm trying not to be because, again, it is interesting and I'm glad we got to this. And I feel like this is just going to be one of those things where we have to get to, like, every single shinobi that has been reanimated because they each have something else to say. Obviously, I feel like that has to be why, like, for instance, if Jiraiya got reanimated, it would be, I don't think it, like, it just makes more sense that he's not, because I feel like there's nothing left for Jiraiya to say, if that makes sense. I'm not saying that there's a bunch of other people that have passed that don't have more to go with, but I think at least in the case of Lady Chiyo, knowing that somehow Sasori was at peace, even though he kind of was before, but given that piece of, like, his legacy going forward might be nice for her. But what I mean by that necessarily is that there are things that I guess could be said for everyone. But again, it wouldn't be right for someone like Jiraiya or even Naruto's dad, because he had that little moment with his dad when the village was getting destroyed. I don't feel like there are other things. Maybe I'm going to be proven wrong. Maybe there will be moments where they somehow get to talk again. But it's like their presence can't happen, but also it's not necessary because they've said everything they need to say. That there's, I mean, I don't know, maybe the first Hokage we still have questions about, but at least Jiraiya and his dad. So there's that. I'm going to just say that. I probably just jinxed myself in some way, shape, or form, but I'm going to say that. Again, all of this to say that I do appreciate that there was something left to say. There was another character who, in a way, we tied up that loose end. We tied up the story that is Hanzo, who is connected to Nagato, who's connected to Jiraiya and Tsunade and the whole Akatsuki thing. Everything is connected. And I like that and I appreciate that. So I do appreciate that this episode was in a way needed, but I felt a little sad. And by sad, I mean bored, because there's a whole thing happening on the beachfront that we just, and maybe because it got the initial strike has passed, and maybe that's what's going to happen, is that we're going to go through an initial wave of like all our different battlefronts and then move on to the next. Because like we know that Kakashi is still fighting, you know, the Mist Blade people, but he defeated oh my gosh, I forgot his name. Zabuza. I was like, it'll come to me. There's a lot of names going through my head right now. He defeated again Zabuza and Haku. So since that was over, now we move on to the next one. And since the main thing that happened there is done, we move on to the next one. So maybe that has to do with it. And I can be okay with that, again, as long as we're still focusing. And I'm glad that there were reinforcements and Kankuro was able to get saved. I don't know what they're going to do with Deidara, but I don't know. All of that, again, to say, interesting, but I'm ready to go on to the next. So I'm hoping that since this has been wrapped up and they have brought back that line of for that line of characters back to be healed, that we'll move on to the next. So, but I do think this is actually a really good place to stop. So you know what? Go me. I don't plan this out in advance. I just think about what time I have and how many episodes I need to get recorded. And I try my best to get them all recorded in the time that I do have on any given day that I decide to record. English is hard, but I hope that makes sense. But yeah, I'm glad that this worked out great for me. So thank you all so much for watching and continuing to follow me on this crazy shinobi journey. And until next time, bye.